Hello and welcome to You've Seen It Before, movie reviews and connections in mind, and welcome back to another installment in my review and reaction series to each and every episode of Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery. Now, if you have not seen any of my other review and reaction series before, this is just my short form reaction series where I give my overall thoughts of the episode as soon as it comes out, what I thought worked, what I thought didn't work about the episode, as well as some analysis as to certain plot developments and character arcs that may seem familiar to you and where you may have seen them before. And just to get this out of the way, this will be a full spoiler review and reaction from this point forward, so if you've not seen the latest episode of Star Trek Discovery Season 3, I highly recommend you do that now and come back later, because this will be full-on spoilers from here on out. So with that being said, without further ado, let's get into Star Trek Discovery Season 3, Episode 2, entitled Far From Home. The previous episode showed that Michael Burnham and Discovery had been separated, and we saw Burnham's side of the of her journey. The previous episode, this episode, we start with Discovery coming through the time rift. We're heavily damaged, and on a crash course on a unknown planet, they managed to make the crash landing safely. The crew has survived. There's some injuries, of course, but they're alive. But they're in the future. They have some critical repairs that they have to make. They can't communicate with Burnham. They can't lift off the planet's surface just yet. So while Saru and Tilly walk the distance to a small settlement that sensors have picked up, Giorgio and the rest of the Discovery crew, Stamets as well, are trying to repair the ship. Where they're all facing a rather unique threat, I think, parasitic ice. The Discovery landed on an ice planet, and the ice, it seems, grows very rapidly and is actually kind of consuming Discovery, and it thrives in the shade. So there's the time element of once the sun sets and the light fades, Discovery is going to be crushed. So there's that time frame, and once Saru and Tilly make it to this settlement, it turns out that the guys who were there is a family, and they are willing to help the crew of the Discovery, because they say that they recognize that it was a Starfleet vessel and that they are members of Starfleet, and that the Federation will help them because post the burn, they can't get supplies themselves there, and they don't have a ship to get any external supplies. So they're reliant on a courier to drop off supplies to them. The courier is not a friendly dude, and the courier comes and recognizes also that Discovery is a Starfleet ship, and Saru and Tilly are Starfleet officers, but even further recognizes that they are time travelers, and that because of their ancient equipment, he recognizes that they're from the past. So a conflict ensues there, and there's a bit of a philosophical difference between Saru and Giorgio, Mirror Giorgio, who comes into this settlement looking to start some trouble, save their bacon, but also, kill people. And Saru basically says that's not what we're about, and we're not going to abandon our principles because we're in the future and this is a rough time. So once they do that, they're able to get the repairs that they need. The Discovery is ready to lift off, seemingly in the nick of time, with the ice beginning to crush the ship more and more. However, there's some struggle with the ship trying to lift off. They find that there was a ship that comes in who locks a tractor beam on them and pulls them out of the ice and into safety. And it turns out the ship is being piloted by Burnham, who they've reunited. And the last reveal of this episode is that because of how the time rift worked, Burnham, the Discovery crashed on this planet a year after Burnham made it to the future. So now they're 931 years into the future. So that's how this episode ends. What did I think of this episode? I thought this was a good way to introduce the Discovery and how the crew reacts to this new environment. I mean, for right now, it was mostly a survival tale, so it was really only just Giorgio, Tilly, and Saru's reaction to this future time. So we'll see how the rest of the crew figures that out in future episodes, probably. But as far as it's going now, I think this was a decent episode to come off of the heels of the last week's episode. I will say that of the crew going on, they're sort of setting things up with Dolmer, I think it was her name, I forget, but she's the helmsman, and either she took a really big blow to the head, which she kind of did, but they're kind of setting things up that she's not quite back to normal, and we're not entirely certain why. Maybe explain a reason why, something to do with the time shift, something with an ability that she doesn't know about. Who knows? We'll see how they explore that later on. Also, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but Tig Notaro's character. We'll see. I mean, they had her and Stamets had good chemistry in the latter parts of season 2, but at least it may take them a little bit to regain that chemistry this time. This was a kind of a weird episode for them to come back on, and I don't know. I just felt like her kind of complaining. I mean, she was, I guess, injured and in her back, and her just kind of complaining the whole episode was not particularly great, in my opinion. So, I mean, who knows? They'll probably get better later on, but that was just something that I thought didn't quite work. Also, I mean, yes, they'll probably explore it late in other episodes, but I feel like the way this episode ends with with Burnham fighting him, and it's like, she was like, it's like, Saru, I've been searching for you for a year. It's like, they, at least, I didn't think it's meant to be like a cliffhanger until next week's episode of sorts, but it kind of feels like they, at least they kind of yada-yada'd past that. I mean, maybe that's just me, but I thought the delivery of that was a little bit I will say, though, when I have to go back to, I haven't rewatched Discovery Season 2 in a while, so I may have forgotten when this particular ability was first introduced, but when seeing Saru like fold out his skull spikes and shoot them at the bad guy was pretty awesome, I gotta say. And the fact that also, like I said, the killer the killer ice or whatever, that's one where it's like, that's kind of a unique thing in Star Trek. You don't often see that sort of thing where like and I thought that was a unique threat that they faced. So good job on that front. So yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I'm not gonna complain too heavily on that front. Some things that I thought seemed familiar. I mean, just a couple of general similarities to other Trek episodes. One being Star Trek Voyager episodes from season 5, Timeless, in which Voyager crashes on an ice planet, and just, I mean, obviously the plots diverge from there, but there's just a similar situation there. Also, the fact that this settlement is being bullied by a supply merchant or whatever. He and his little crew are terrorizing this community, similar to an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, Marauders, in which a pack of Klingons are bullying a settlement of deuterium miners, and then as with that episode and this episode, the Starfleet presence comes to solve the threat. So those are just a couple of points of comparison. Like I said, this was a overall good episode. they're setting up some things, and we're gonna hit the ground running with in the next episode. Looks like, I'm pretty sure. So look forward to that. What did you think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Did I miss something in my analysis? I probably missed something. Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate whatever audience I can get, and be sure to tune in next week for my next review and reaction of the next episode 3 of Star Trek Discovery Season 3. So, there you go. Again, thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't done it already, and if you like this video or any other video on my channel, please give me a like, share, and especially subscribe. I'd very much appreciate it. Again, you guys are the best. Thank you for watching. But just remember, there is nothing new under the sun. And yes, you have seen it before.